Hey guys, for those of you that don't know me, I am Chad Cooper, owner of Cooper's Taxidermy. We've recently had several phone calls with our clients headed out to the Midwest. Chronic wasting disease seems to be an issue. It's getting worse and worse. For your convenience, we've decided to do a quick video of how to properly cape out a deer head for a mount. However, it is legal to bring your deer back into Florida to have him mounted as long as he's been caped out. So therefore, this is how we normally get our deer in to be mounted. The customer skins the neck down as far as they can. Sometimes they have more neck in them. This is how we're used to getting the deer. Now, if it's a chronic waste state, obviously he's got to be completely caped off the head, brain removed from the skull. So I'm going to briefly show you how to do that, give you an idea. So if you're in the field, you can actually go to our Facebook page. We'll have this video posted for your convenience. And if you have any questions, just view the video. And if you have to, give us a call. All right, let's get started. The only tools you will need for this job is a flathead screwdriver. This particular screwdriver, I've just added some epoxy on the end because we skin so many here, it pads your hand when you're hitting the screwdriver. You can just use a hammer to tap it with, or the palm of your hand if you're just doing 1 or 2 deer heads. And the other knife we use is just a Vitronex knife, a little simple kitchen pair knife. It's about a $3 knife. Most people that skin deer heads that I've seen are using knives that's way too large. In our shop, we like to use a small knife. You can basically hold the knife as it's a writing pencil, and we mainly cut with the tip of the knife as we're doing our skinning. So I'm going to show you how we go about this. Some of you will already know how to do this, but this is just some helpful tips. All right, once you have the neck skinned all the way down out of the deer, in the old days they would split the deer cape all the way down the back of the neck. What we're going to do is make what we call a Y cut, which is a short incision, so the whole back of the head will pull out. You place your knife right here between the antlers. Don't go way down here to start because you're going to have such a long V cut. There's a lot of extra sewing that's not necessary. So you'll probably start back about a ½ inch to an inch behind the base of the antlers, right in the center of the deer. Instead of cutting down like this, if you do this, you'll actually cut the hair. So we actually place the tip of the knife right there, and then you bring the knife up and you bump the knife tip down into the skin. And once you've got the knife stuck into the skin, follow the center of the cape. Lift your knife up and then go back in, and then you cut about a 4 to 5 inch cut down the very center of his neck. And as you can see, there's no loose hair that I've cut off because I stuck the knife in, slid the knife down under the skin, and then cut coming out, rather than just lay it on the top and slicing down, which would be cutting all the hair. So now when our seam comes together, all the hair will overlap and there's none of the hair cut in half. So we have a perfect skin at this point. Then you find the top of your seam and you get the very tip of your knife. Instead of laying your knife right here on the antler at the base and then cutting back, what you would do is you would be cutting all this hair off, and then you'd have a big seam with no hair on it. So you find the tip of your cut, turn your knife blade, and then slide your knife blade under the hair against the skin until you butt it up against the burr of the antler. And then put pressure on the front tip of the knife and just cut on your draw back. And then you can see I've made this cut right to this point here, and I've cut no hair whatsoever. Then you're going to part your hair with your knife blade and your thumb, find the tip of your antler, staying in the same existing cut. Don't let it cut off at an angle and start a new area. Make sure it underneath the burr, stick it in there, and putting pressure on just the very tip of the knife is all I'm using. I'm not using this part of the blade at all. And then kind of dig at that and make sure you're all the way through the skin against the bone. Okay, then you're going to go to the other side and do the same thing. And then cut on your way back. Again, you separate the hair, go right up to the burr of the antler, cut on the way back. Again, you've got to make sure you're all the way through the skin or it'll want to rip with you. Okay, once you've got this cut, I just want to show you, you've got a V coming down, and then you continue down forming a capital Y. So none of the hair is cut. You can see all the hair is hanging over the edge of the cut. All right, go ahead and start uplifting the front piece here, which is the top of the head. And I'll go ahead and cut down and skin part of this out here onto the edge of the ears and down to the base of the neck. Go, and I flip my knife over. Again, I'm cutting with just the tip of my knife, not the whole knife, and I can actually cover some of that blade up so I'm not catching this hair. A lot of people, when you're cutting like this, the base of that knife will be grazing this hair and shaving it off, so you've got to be careful about the base of your knife and what it's doing. Okay, at this point, a big mistake that's made, a lot of people, your guides and stuff out west, a lot of them will come in here with a knife and they'll actually start trying to cut this skin away from the burr of the antler. When you go to do that, you cut little bitty jags in this skin all the way around, and the skin will actually stretch with you, and you will not get a tight bond back around the base of the antler when he's mounted. So what I do is I get a flathead screwdriver, lay it right in here against the burr of the antler, flat, as if it's right against the bone, and you bump it. And what you'll find is the screwdriver will actually peel the skin away from the antler. And then you can uplift it, and you're all the way around the burr of the antler. You can see what's happening here. I'm actually lifting the skin away from the antler, and you're getting a smooth transition. Put it around. You can see all the skin's peeling out. And then I'll actually come in from the back side. And continue bumping the skin around with a screwdriver. So now you can see I've actually taken a screwdriver and bumped it all the way around, pulling and prying, and you twist the skin right out from underneath the antler itself. So all this is detached all the way up underneath the burr, and you don't leave any excess skin on the burr of the antler. Okay, and then you continue to the other side, continue right on around the other antler. Now you've got your skin peeled off. At this point, I actually stand the deer up on his nose. Now we've made our Y cut. We've gone all the way around the base of the antler, so everything's detached around the base. You actually lift up the skin. As you start skinning this down, you're actually cutting through the cartilage of the ear, staying tight. And right here, you're going to see me come through the cartilage. And again, watch the base of your knife that you don't cut this hair at the very base. Then I come in here and lift up, go all the way through the muscle on that part of the head. So now we've completely detached this ear. Go through the cartilage, reach under the antler, go through the cartilage of the ear, through the muscle, and then you're going to actually see the skin at this point will roll right out the back of the head. So you've made this short cut, but the whole head's coming through it. Now I always stick my hand underneath so I can feel where I'm cutting to make sure I don't cut too deep. You can reposition your deer, continue cutting. Now I'll flip my knife right here, cutting with just the tip of the knife. Continue to come right on around the front. You're underneath the jaw at this point. Okay, now we've come all the way around the whole back of the neck. We've got all the skin pulled loose from the bottom of the jaw. Then we come back to the top of the head, lift up, and again I'm cutting with just the tip of my knife. Continue to roll this head part down. I'll flip the deer. And then you get to the back of the eye orbit right here. This is the eye orbit bone. Start cutting down on top of the bone itself, staying really close to it on the inside edge. So I'm right at the back of the eyeball at that point. Just continue rolling the deer, continue cutting. You get to this point, I'm at the back of the eye orbit bone, continue to cut down the edge of the eye. Okay, now we've reached the critical area. We're at the very back of the eye. If you bring the skin back forward, you'll see a lot of mistakes is that the very back corner of this eye will be cut. And the way they're doing this is they go to continue cutting, and when they cut, they're cutting the back of the eyelid at the back corner of the eye, which is a very easy spot to cut. So what I do is I recommend getting your thumb and stick your thumb inside the deer's eye. And when you stick your thumb in the eye, you're catching the skin on the very back and lifting up on it. So you catch this, and you know you're not going to cut it because I'm looking at my thumb. I can feel my thumb right here. I know that that eyelid is on this side of my thumb, and I obviously don't want to cut my thumb, so I'm going to go back behind my thumb and I cut through the back of the eyelid with my thumb holding the skin up. Now at this point I can go ahead and stick my index finger in there and lift up. I can actually see the eyelid, and I continue trimming around to the front corner of the eye. So I know the whole back of the eyelid is still intact. Go to the other side, do the same thing. Again, I stick my thumb under the eye, into the eye itself, lift up, and I feel my thumb. Right here is my thumbnail. I actually cut behind my thumb, so I know I'm catching all the eyelid is staying on the skin. Stick my index in it, and I cut all the way down to the very front corner of the eye. We've reached another critical point right at the very front corner of the eye. Continue coming around and then stay next to your eye orbit bone, cutting straight down. Now all of your whitetails, most all of your deer period, they have this gland which is called a tear duct right in the very front corner of the eye. This actually closes up on a mount, but that sac goes up into the front corner of the eye. And you want to try to keep from cutting that sac off, causing a big hole. So when you get your knife, again, you hold it like this, and you're cutting with just the very tip of the knife, and you go under, staying next to the bone and this tendon, and you actually carve this little sac out of that hole. You get right to the very edge of the bone, continue cutting real close to the bone, and it's out of there. You can go to your other side, and I'll change my angle of my knife. After I go straight down the front corner, I'll actually hold my knife like this, and I'll dig with just the tip of the knife past the eyes. You can continue going right on down the head of the deer. And I just roll the deer head as I continue skinning out down towards the nose. Okay, now when you get to the very back corner of the mouth, people wonder what they're going to do at this point. You can actually feel this slack skin right here. You can feel the deer's teeth underneath this skin. Actually pinch the skin up and cut down into the skin. You'll see the teeth are exposed. Grab your finger, pull up, and then cut down to the jawbone and cut the skin right at the edge of the teeth line. Come at the top, do the same thing. Roll the deer over. Do the same thing on this other side. Pinch the skin up, cut down through the skin, right down the edge of the teeth. On the bottom jaw, you're doing the same. Continue right along the edge of the upper palate, right down the edge of the jawbone. I'm at the very tip of the bottom jaw. Continue to go around and underneath. You can see the teeth are exposed there on the bottom part. Now you have the entire bottom lip off with all the skin that we leave the tuck on the inside. Now you can see the hard palate of the roof of the mouth. You can see how the skin goes all the way around this palate. You actually want to follow it along the edge of the palate. And I always pull the nose forward right here, go right at the front of the palate, cut down both sides, and you can actually go down the cartilage. So I've actually cut all the skin still intact. You go down the cartilage of the muzzle, flip the deer back over. Now I'm starting to notice his sinus cavity right here. All this is soft tissue, all this is cartilage. You'll actually get your knife. If you're cutting too shallow, you'll be against bone. So you get right in here and go ahead and cut straight down and then turn your knife a little bit and you'll have the cartilage cut loose from the muzzle. All this can be taken care of in the shop. And that right there is basically how you cape out your deer. At this point, just invert the skin back out right. Get all your twist out. Start at the nose and roll your skin going down the neck. Then flip the ears over in on each other. Continue rolling the cape. And then there's your cape to be bagged up and brought home. Antlers, all you'll do at this point is we actually make a cut between the eye. A lot of people cut down through the eyes. There's no sense in doing that. You're leaving a lot of tissue in there that has to be cleaned out. You actually go about halfway between the back of the eye orbit and the burr of the antler, and you cut straight down through here with a saw. And then as you flip the deer up on its nose, some people make the mistake of coming in here too shallow, and then some people cut way back in here. What you're going to want to do is go about halfway between his ear canal and the burr of the antler, setting your saw blade about right in here, and you just cut right on down through all this until you meet this cut you've made right in here. Hope this has helped y'all. If you find this interesting, if you think this could help somebody else, share our video, help other sportsmen know how to take care of their trophies per mount. Good luck.